How's it going, everybody out there in sports land? Welcome to the LZ Sports Show. I am Mark Adam, just one of your two great hosts here on the show. So thank you for joining us. I am joined, obviously, by the other host, Mr. Keith McKnight. Socially distanced, the guy's all the way over at his house. I am all the way in my house. And never the twain shall meet.
No.
We can't. I mean, the houses don't go together. But yeah. Welcome to the show, everybody. A little bit of technical difficulty today. I'm just going to let you know. So that whole audio drifting from the video thing may be a factor today. We're just going to go with it because that's how we roll here in the LZ. So we'll be right back after a short word from our wonderful sponsor.
Make your house a better place to come home to with Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We've been delivering complete customer satisfaction for over 40 years. Whether it's a fully completed backyard escape, a completely renovated bathroom, or a premium upgrade on outdoor furniture, Aquatech is the only name you need to know. That's because if it's an Aquatech job, it's an Aquatech team working on it. No outsourcing, no subcontractors. We do it all. Visit our one-of-a-kind showroom today at 1065 Dugald Road. Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. We create better places to come home to.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you very much again to our sponsor, Aquatech Pool, Spa, and Bath. I don't know where you just went for a second. That was fun. So we're just going to jump into it because this is one of those shows. So, Mr. McKnight, you can hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then let's just get into it. I'm gonna roll the highlight package that we built because that's what we do now on this professional show because we're so professional. Let's go.
And we're awesome. We're awesome.
Absolutely, we're awesome. So if this kicks off here, what buttons do I have to hit to make that happen? You know, that's the question. First period. Mr. Johnny Gaudreau taking some heat from his coach. 500th game in the NHL. We're going to see some examples of what not to do as a goaltender here. Laurent Brossoit fails to secure his post, allowing Levo to get in there and pot one. And this one here is the only legit goal that Brossoit, I think, let in. Off Appleton's stick there. Giordano gets the credit on that one. Because Appleton allowed that to happen, he says, I got to do something about that. So in the second period, look how much space this guy has. Look at that space. Insane. And then he bounces it in, of course, off of a Calgary player because it wouldn't be revenge unless it went in off of somebody else. And then off of the Lucic mishandle, Logan Stanley rips one for his first goal in the NHL. Look at his face. Tell me he's not excited. Keep that puck back. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And off to the third period we go, where things took a not so great turn for the Jets. Tied up at 2. Income. An underwhelming zone entry, and Brossoit just goofs this one again. By the way, the announcer of the game last night kept calling him Brossoit, not Brossoit. Brossoit and forward, but whatever. And then this one here, what was he thinking? This was going wide of the net, and he reaches out to help out Calgary, I guess. Uncertain what they were doing there. Jets go down 4-2 in regulation, and that's what Sutter looks like happy. Imagine him mad. You know, I can't even imagine this guy if he was mad. That would what do you even do with that? But anyway, less than overwhelming performance.
Yeah, Laurent Brossoit made this team look really bad.
Oh, he did. It
was single-handedly, all by himself.
And it was funny because we've talked on this show before about how much faith the team has in him and how it doesn't matter whether they play Brossoit or Hellebuck. It shouldn't matter because they're both very solid goaltenders, and generally that's been the case. But last night, I don't know what happened to Brossoit. Too much of the cowboy bars in, or if they're even allowed to go there. They're not.
Maybe he went out.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, something was going on with Brossoit yesterday. A very poor performance on his part, leading to a 4-2 goal. I will point out, only one net was scored on all night. All 6 goals went into the same end of the ice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so 2 goals in the first period for Calgary. They switch ends. 2 goals in the second period for the Jets. They switch ends. 2 goals for the Flames in the third. All the goals were like the ice was slanted in one direction. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, less than ideal outcome for the Jets. I thought, if you're going to quickly talk about some Calgary players, Gaudreau played a lot better, but getting publicly called out by your coach at a press conference will do that to you. You either respond and prove him wrong, or you just sulk, and he doesn't strike me as a sulker, so he went to work. You know who was super quiet in that game last night? Kachuk. Another quiet game for him.
You almost don't even think he exists anymore.
Non-factor almost. And then you got Lucic, who wasn't a factor either. The guy, I mean, other than allowing Winnipeg to have a couple power plays, Lucic was also, and he's the one that handed Stanley his first goal, essentially. Just say, here, take the puck. I don't need it. And Stanley says, thank you, Roof Daddy. So that it was just a weird game, because I thought the Jets overall played pretty well, but Brossoit had 3 very bad goals out of 4 goals. One excusable goal that Giordano shot off of Appleton's stick. Absolutely, I'll give you that one. But man, that was a rough day. Let's talk positives for a second. Who was your Jet that you thought really did well? Because we know we're not going to go with the keeper on this night.
Absolutely nobody.
Oh wow! All right, that's interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm going with nobody. I was watching, and they didn't depend on the goalie, but Laurent Brossoit, with his body language and the way that he played yesterday, acting as if like he didn't want to be there, that could really demoralize your team very, very quickly. And I just felt that his attitude last night and his mindset going into the game just killed it for everybody early on. Like those goals that he let in, it was just like, man, did you even try? There was only one good goal, and we saw that in the highlight reel that you just pulled up there. So yeah. No, I'm going with absolutely nobody, because he personally, like you said, single-handedly made them look so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't an ideal outcome. And I mean, if I had to pick somebody, I'm going with Stanley. I thought defensively he was very good. Obviously he scored his first NHL goal. He did all the things that he needed to properly. I would say I would lean more on the defense for playing well last night. Kyle Connor, second period hero, yet again, more second period points. But I would say you got to give it to Logan Stanley on his first NHL goal. He played well. He was I don't know. It was hard to pick anybody out in particular last night, because and the other thing is, the Calgary Flames, that team last night was not the team from the night before. It wasn't. They were 2 different teams, and Brett and Sutter went at them. There's no doubt about it. What do you think he said to them?
Well, he's a Lord Stanley Cup winning coach, so I think he probably, I don't know what he said to them, but he probably called out a lot of players, more so just because he called out Johnny Gaudreau publicly. He probably called out a lot of those players in the locker room, and they probably left with a big demeanor where it's we beat this team before. But yeah, like you said, they were not the same team. I saw that final score and I was like, whoa, what just happened here?
Yeah, speaking of, let's bring this stat while you're talking there.
Yeah, it's you know what? You can't always blame it on the goalie, but last night wasn't always. Last night was last night, and we're going to blame this loss single-handedly on Laurent Brossoit.
I mean, that's an easy scapegoat, but I mean, they did allow 33 shots. They got outshot hard. Low penalty minutes, but they generally very good penalty kill did allow a power play goal. And then the hits got a little, more intense for the Jets last night, because they were a little less in control. Remember the stats from the previous night, the Jets were very much in control of the play, and so they didn't really need to hit. They weren't knocking bodies around because they always had the puck. There's nobody to hit when you're in control. And last night, the game kind of got away from them, and they were chasing a little bit. I mean, they did play well, but I really think that Calgary showed up where they did not the previous night. So, all that said, and having had a solid look at these stats here, what do you think happens tomorrow night? The last
Tomorrow
of this
night,
road trip.
Connor Hellebuck will be back in net and guarantee you that just as much. I know I guarantee to win, open my big mouth, look at Keith over there, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. You know what? I got to stand by the team I believe in, right? I mean, you got to pick them to win every time they take the ice. But no, you can't. It's like he's just losing all the faith in this one game because it's like he was living up to the expectations of playing like Connor Hellebuck. And then, no, we need Connor Hellebuck back in net tomorrow to come back because I wanted this team to pack 6 points. They better pack 4 on this road trip now. In this specific series, is what I mean. Yes.
And the tough part about being a backup goalie in the NHL is that, everybody can have a bad night and you just sort of forget about it. The problem is being a backup, you've only played how many games? Right? You can't, You don't get to have a bad night because you only play every 6th or 7th game. So you having a bad night it's bad. So
very bad.
Right? Connor Hellebuck plays 10 games in a row, has one bad one in the middle. We totally forget about it. Laurent Brossoit has played 9 games this season. It's if that. I don't even know. I don't know what the stat is actually, but I know that it's not okay for your backup to have a night off when he's in net. Like you just, and that's tough. That's a tough spot to be in because you're trying to prove yourself that you can be a number one guy, but you don't get the number one guy perks because you haven't earned them yet. You're not the number one guy, so you can't have a bad day. And Laurent Brossoit had a bad day.
Very
Whereas Riddick
bad.
at the other end of the ice, I thought he played very well.
Yeah, he had a very good game for Calgary. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason that Calgary won that game was because Riddick played so well, particularly in the first and third periods. So it's just a rough time. The goal sheet here, kind of nice. Logan Stanley having his name on there. I'd like to see Appleton scoring. Yeah. I love that too. Andrew Kopp, Thompson, Connor, the assists on those goals. On the other side, however, 11 skaters on the score sheet. 11.
Wow.
So 4 separate goals. Mangiapane, Bennett, Levo, Giordano. Gaudreau got an assist. Who else got an assist? Backlund, Nordstrom, Monahan, Lindholm. There's defenseman too, Tanev, Hannafin. Is basically if you're wearing a red shirt last night, you get a point for free. And the interesting thing, not one Calgary Flame had a multi-point night. All 11 points came from 11 different people.
Had a team effort last night.
Absolutely. And you see the goaltender matchup there, 29 for 33, .879, and the save percentage not great. I was a less than impressive outing for Brossoit, who, like I said, the announcer kept saying Brossoit, 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 and he also kept saying Forbort, Derek Forbort. Forbort. But then he can turn around and say Mangiapane. It's like he took no time to learn how to say any of the Jets names.
But, you gotta if you have to spell it phonetically for yourself, so that way you know how to pronounce it, you have to do it that way. And clearly he didn't.
Yeah, well, because he mispronounced a bunch of Jets names, but he didn't get any of the Flames names wrong. Like, you didn't hear him being like, "Oh, the pass from Mango Panini. I mean Mangiapane. I mean, you know what I mean." So whatever. Anyway, it is what it is. The playoff picture looks good for the Jets right now.
We're still right there.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate that Toronto played last night and got the win, where we played last night and got the straight up loss. By the way, they won in overtime over Edmonton, so Edmonton's overtime loss comes 35 games into the season, the first time they lost an overtime game.
Oh, and look at that. Look how many losses they have compared to us.
Yeah, well, they've played.
They had their first game in overtime. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So the second overtime game, first overtime loss. They're the only other time they made an overtime game out of it. They ended up winning. So this was a momentous occasion for fans of the Edmonton Oilers, and Toronto was very lucky to get out of that one, maintaining their 4-6-0 last 10, where Edmonton improves to 7-2-1, looking dangerous yet again. So it's going to be interesting going forward to see how that all plays out. Mr. Keith McKnight, how are you doing? What are we thinking?
There, right now,
what are we thinking?
I was looking at the amount of overtime losses that the Montreal Canadiens have. Oh my God, that's really bad. That's really bad. I don't think anybody should be threatened by them because of the fact of statistically when you were crunching those numbers and explaining by the win percentages and so on, you look at that. I'm like, no matter how much these guys win, their overtime losses at 9 are more than their regular losses already. So it's just like, good luck. Like, I don't think they have a chance at all to come back from that. There's no American Thanksgiving, but they might as well start eating turkey right now.
Ooh, that's kind of harsh. I like it though. But the Montreal Canadiens, they went 9 overtimes before winning one. So they went the opposite direction. They were in overtime almost every game, and they couldn't win one for the longest time. And Edmonton went the other way, where they're like, screw overtime, we don't want anything to do with that. They've only been to overtime twice, and they've split those. So it's a little different. But the Jets now looking to face Calgary one more time. Tomorrow night, another 9 o'clock start for us Winnipeggers. So what do you think they need to adjust to fix what happened last night? I mean, obviously, Hellebuck's going in the net, but what other things do they need to do to adjust? Should they make some lineup changes? What should they do? It's the last game of a very busy road schedule before they get to come home and play Toronto. What do you think?
I think that they should create some momentum by improving on the defensive core for this one. No disrespect to Logan Stanley or pinpointing anybody in particular, but like you pointed out in the stats sheet there with the score with like 33 shots, like that's a lot of shots to be giving up regardless of if your D fell apart or, your forwards just got beat and, then the D-men just got beat as well and just by downright skill, right? So I just think that they need to just tighten up the defense tomorrow. And one thing I really enjoy that you say about the Vancouver Canucks is that they rely on their goalie way too much, and the Jets are not a team like that, and hopefully they don't start to rely on Connor Hellebuck too much, because I don't think yesterday they relied too much on Laurent Brossoit. I just thought that he just put them in a funk, right, where he was like, okay, what's up with this guy tonight?
Yeah, there was something going on with him outside of his play. That was weird. Looking forward to the next month. We're into the final stretches here. There's 21 games left for the Jets after they finish this long road streak. 14 road game or 12 road games in 14. That's a long stretch to go. Then they get to come home for a bunch of games. They have a couple of away games next month, but a lot of it's at home, and I think they're going to be a lot more comfortable playing in their own arena for a lot more of this. And I don't know, I'm excited to see what the rest of this season brings. How do you think that they're going to handle Toronto? Because now that's the next challenge too. Once they go through Calgary tomorrow night, Toronto's on the other side of that, and they're still sitting in first place. They keep winning games. Everybody says, oh, they're not doing that well. Well, they're first in the division, and they continue to be first in the division, whether you shake it by points percentage or by points alone. It's a dangerous team to play against every time you go there. So having them visit you is kind of ideal. But we've talked about before, no fans in the stands. Home ice advantage doesn't mean what it used to.
I still think it does, though, because you're still playing in another team's arena. It's still the team's ice that you don't know the bounces, you don't know where there's there's a couple things that, right? And even in the morning when you go to the morning skate, one of Stan Bowman's favorite thing was to do when the visiting team was and their morning skate was to pump the AC, make them feel uncomfortable. So
is that legal? I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. So that's where I was just like, oh, wow. Like those little things that they talk about that they can do to make you feel uncomfortable, regardless of the fans. No matter what. No, I just don't think in any sport, let it be like on their turf, their field, their pitch, their rink, their court, whatever it may be. If it's your home domain, you're going to play your opponent that much harder. Like you always play harder at home. And that's one thing that my late basketball coach from high school, Mr. Coach Irv Hannick, would always say. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? That's kind of true, actually. You know, they do come out a little bit harder. You know, just to backtrack, and I know like the scales of professional sports are up here to like, you know, high school sports like down here. But nonetheless, I remember this one game that we had, and one of our coaches, Mr. Lowther, said that this one team, they just came out firing, had a 10-point lead on us. And next thing you know, it's like, you know, had to take a timeout. So yeah, they do come out firing in the early stages. So I think Toronto's in some trouble either way, fans or no fans.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I would like to see a game where Toronto is uncomfortable because it's hard to make them uncomfortable. They've got so much experience. It's hard to put them in a situation where they just have never been in it before. You know, there's so many players who've been in every situation. Name a situation, they've been in it. They've got a lot of experience in that dressing room, and this is a nice way to call them old, but it's they do. It's hard to put them on their heels. So, and then even their young talent is so skilled that they can overcome. They're not like a young Senators team that kind of isn't used to anything and all they know is getting their butt kicked.
That's right.
These guys are used to winning a lot of games and scoring a lot of goals, and they have 114 goals for on the season so far, tying Winnipeg, by the way. Winnipeg also has 114 on the season so far. But it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Back up from the Toronto series for a second. Who do you think is Winnipeg's big rival right now? Like rivalries, because someone asked that on Reddit, and I got an answer out of one of the Redditors, but what I want to hear is what you think. Who do you think is, if you had to pick one rival in the NHL, doesn't have to be the division, the NHL in general, pick a rival. Who do you think?
Ooh, that's tough. It's hard to go away from, there was always that intensity when Nashville showed up. But the one thing I think the Jets feel that they have some unfinished business, and I don't want to say a hidden agenda, but they have their own agenda towards them, is the Las Vegas Golden Knights of losing to them in the conference finals. I think that stung really, really hard. Other than those two teams, I don't really know who, because I don't know, the Jets play almost just the same type of game against everybody, and I don't know, other than those two teams, I can't really see anybody else in the league. How about you?
Well, the big answer around the league, if you ask any of the fans, is the Nashville Predators. It's and pardon the vulgarity, but it's F the Preds and F Kachuk. They don't even say F Calgary. It's F Kachuk, because that hit he put on Scheifele that knocked him out. That eventually, you know, there's bad blood there, and
yes.
And there's those are the two rivalries that you hear most. F the Preds, F Kachuk. That's back and forth. And depending on who you ask, one is stronger than the other, but it goes back and forth. But let me tell you what Mr. Brent Barrington said via Reddit. Historically, the Oilers, which is true back in the day, because of proximity, people think that the Minnesota Wild would be our big thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Artificially the Leafs, but I think that's mostly just through the Sportsnet network because they're just Leafs central, so everyone is the Leafs rival basically. And everybody, you know, a lot of fans have that ABL attitude, which is anyone but the Leafs. So that's a thing. But then he says actually Preds, Flames, and Vegas, which is more or less what you've just said. And he said, I'm sure Arizona would make things interesting once the divisions are realigned. So that's an interesting take on it as well. So thank you very much to Brent Barrington for letting us use that quote that I stole straight out of Reddit. I asked him first. I did. I asked for permission.
Yeah.
And, I also asked him if he was a big fan of the show, and he said, of course, now.
We can't tell you. Our in-house lawyers, we can't keep them busy on the weekends.
No.
So we got to make sure we have permission.
Lazy Sunday today. Lazy Sunday.
Yes.
So hopefully it is not a lazy Sunday for the Jets as they prepare for their game tomorrow night against a formidable Calgary Flames team. And hopefully we see the Calgary Flames that we saw night one, not the Calgary Flames we saw last night, because they were a very solid team last night. Johnny Gaudreau. That's another question I have for you then, real quick. Getting called out by your coach publicly. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's tough. That'll sting for sure on a personal level, and then it'll make you want to play coach's pet or just get to work. And Johnny Gaudreau is the type of guy. It's like, hey, I'm not going to play coach's pet. Like, forget about it. I don't need to go suck up or anything. I'm just going to get to work. I might be in a bit of a slump where, maybe this is what I might need. And if it's a public thing, maybe it's a little aggressive. That's okay. Johnny Gaudreau, I mean, you're in the NHL. You can probably handle a lot. And, yeah, I think you can handle that. It's not as bad as when Keith McKnight, he emceed a wedding and said a joke and nobody in the room laughed at all. So when you can come back from that, I think it's okay. He'll be all right.
Fair enough.
Yes.
I don't know if I agree with calling your players out like that, but Sutter is one of those guys. We have a coach, Paul Maurice, and when he has a thought, he gives you this like very well thought out, structured explanation as to why he did that and what his plan is moving forward. And then you got a guy like Sutter who's like, what do you think about Johnny Gaudreau playing in his 500th game tonight? I hope he plays better than he did in his 499th.
Yes.
What? It's like, so, like, if you're Johnny Gaudreau, right in the feels, like you couldn't even say one nice thing about me playing 500 games in the NHL. Nope. Johnny Hockey takes a lick in there. I just, like, he's just such a point blank blunt guy, and there's some blunt guys that are like offensive blunt, more like your John Tortorella's, but then you got guys like Sutter who's just like, here's the facts, take it or leave it.
Subtle Sutter.
It's subtle. There's nothing subtle about Sutter.
Sutter. That's we're gonna dub him that subtle Sutter.
Ironically
subtle
so. Yeah, I like it. But yeah,
I hear one thing about him yesterday. I watched just YouTube videos about him. I was like, oh yeah, he's back in the NHL. And then got lost with these Sutterisms that somebody quoted on him. And I was like, oh wow, let me listen to this. The first one was just great. He was a little disappointed and unhappy. He had to spend about $80 on a pair of reading glasses. And he goes, I could get 3 pairs of these at Costco for under $30. And I'm like, yes, you are the man. You are the man.
It's just, these are the things that are important in life. But anyway, he's a very strange guy, but he gets results. It's been proven. He's got a track record, and I think Calgary's glad to have him back. So, hopefully for the Jets, his good effects don't kick in for a bit. Let them have another slumpy night last night. He can yell at them some more. It'll be great. But anyway, we're going to leave you here. Thank you for joining us in the LZ. Follow us on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Like and subscribe to the videos. Even when we have our technical difficulties, we're a lot of fun. We want to hear from you because we think that you're a lot of fun. So call us on the WPG Sports line, 431-800-4555. You can also email us, thelz@thewpg.ca. If you leave us a voicemail on the WPG Sports line, we will use those messages on future episodes of the show. If you email us, we can quote you there as well, as we did with Mr. Barrington. Haha, I'm good at stuff. Stay a fan, man. Keep watching the show. It's a good time.
Now he's going to sue us.
I don't want to be associated with those Benningtons. Defamation of character, whatever it is. But thank you very much to our sponsor, Aquatech Pool Spa and Bath. for having a great sense of humor about when we are complete professionals on this show. And again, we're not trying to be complete professionals as much as just fans of the game. So do not feel afraid about talking to us. We want to hear from you. We really do. We heart you, other fans of the Winnipeg Jets and other Winnipeg sports franchises. So until next time, I am Mark Adam. I am alongside Mr. Keith McKnight. And for all of us here at the LZ Sports Show, we'll see you next time in the LZ.